What ended up happening is I went in one day, and I remember this was after I called that doctor and they tried to help, and I went home, was working with the kids on some stuff and trying to get them settled and comfortable. And SJ, our son, I remember he started crying because he was worried, about daddy and all that. And so I was calming him down, and I was just like up to here. Like I felt like I needed you for support, but I knew I couldn't, like, you weren't in a position to provide that. And I needed to be the strong one, because usually it's you. Right. And I needed to be the calm one, because usually it's you.
Yeah.
So I remember once I got the kids all settled, going back to the hospital, because I don't remember why I was going, but I was going back, to try to meet with the doctor, because they told me she would be there till 7. And I wanted to talk to her about having that medicine, the hydrocortisone PRN, like available. That was really important to me. And also we were trying to find out about how to get you out of the hospital. What's that plan? So I went back because the nurse had told me, your nurse told me that she would be there till 7. So I go back at 6, and I remember sitting in the car before I go in up to your room, and I was just praying, and I was like, Lord, please just help me be strong for him. Just give me the strength. I gotta be the strong one, not him. He needs to know that I'm okay, and I need to help him know that he's gonna be okay, and I just can't go up there and break down. And I said that prayer. I went upstairs, got off the elevator. I see the charge nurse. She's like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm hanging in there. And she's like, okay. And I said, I needed to see the doctor. Or no, she asked me, did you need anything or something like that? And I said, I needed to see the doctor. And she's like, oh, well, she's gone. She's like, she doesn't stay this late. And almost like I was stupid for even suggesting that. And I was like, oh, well, the nurse told me that she'd be here. And the nurse is sitting right there, just ignoring, like she's not the one who told me that. And this nurse is kind of mean. And I could tell I was getting on her nerves. And so I was like, well, and she's like, would you need to talk to her? And I was like, yeah, I kind of do. So she calls the doctor on the phone, and she's like, I have the patient from room 304. His wife, Mrs. Vann, is here. She wants to talk to you. And the doctor goes, again?
Why did she do that?
And I was like, yeah. And I had only talked to her one time the whole day, and the doctor was supposed to go check on some things for us. Like, could we get a wheelchair so he could leave the hospital and we could come home, even though he couldn't get up and walk without potentially passing out. So they were supposed to be checking on some stuff for us, and she never got back to me. So I needed to ask her about that. Plus the PRN, I didn't want him to go another night without having that available. So I was like, yeah, I do, again. And she's like, what? But she didn't hear me, and she didn't know she was on speaker. And she was like, what does she want now? And the charge nurse was like, and that was it. Prayer that I had said in the car 5 minutes before was gone. And I just was like, that's it. We're leaving here. We're self-discharging. And I go rushing into Stefan's room, and I just go, and I just bust out in tears.
Yeah. I'm like, oh Lord, what happened? I said, what did they do? Somebody said something wrong.
So he became the strength again in his hospital bed.
Yes.
And the calm one.
Nurse, what did you do? What did you say?
Yeah, so the nurse came in there, and she's like, I have the doctor. She's right here. You can ask her, what do you need to talk to her? And I was like, no, that's it. We're leaving. I don't need to talk to her. Never mind. I'm just trying to save his life, which is what I had to do over there. And I just went off. So now they all hate me. They're probably mad at him because he's refusing medicines left and right.
I'm like, no.
So at that point, I think they just wanted to get rid of us. So they ended up pretty much coming up with a plan where they just discharged him. No wheelchair, no bedpan, knowing he couldn't get out of the bed to go to the bathroom. No plan for him to follow up with they told us to follow up with the endocrinologist, but they didn't help us with that referral. What else? They said they were going to get us home health care. We haven't heard nothing back about that. Just nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. The physical therapy, nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Physical therapy to try to help him. Nothing. I had to borrow a wheelchair from someone. I had to order a bedpan off of Amazon. Also, one of the chair things that you can go to the bathroom or use it in the shower to sit. Like, we just had to buy all of our own stuff and come home.
But it worked out.
Yes, it did, because when we got home, I was able to adjust your hydrocortisone on my own, and I knew it needed to be increased, so I doubled it. And that did help. You started eating, but your blood pressure was still not high enough to be able to really walk and stuff. And then you had a couple of crises where you couldn't make it from just getting from the bed to the wheelchair. He would just stand up to sit into the wheelchair and start having that crisis. Can you show him what that looks like?
I don't know what it looks like.
No, your eyes are wide open.
Yeah, I don't know.
Non-responsive. You're like, Stefan. Nothing. Gone. So that happened a couple times. And I didn't have the shot on hand because they prescribed it, but no pharmacy could fill it. They didn't let us know. Their sister hospital could have filled it for us, and they should have done that and had it for us when we got discharged, but they didn't. And then when I called to ask, where do I get it filled? The nurse, one of his nurses was like, I don't know what to tell you. She literally told me that. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to get it. This is something you need to save your life in an emergency, which happened at the hospital that they had to do. And they still treated it like whatever. So anyways, I ended up getting that. We called around and we did get it. And
what day did we get released?
You got released on
wasn't it Monday? Oh, no.
Saturday?
Was it a Saturday? Yeah, it was a Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday.
Yeah. Because I would say, after that, by Tuesday, Wednesday, we had things started to materialize, even with the endocrinologist and all that stuff. So,
yeah. You're trying to cut to the chase and end this, I can tell.
Oh, no. I just wanted to.
Oh, I thought you were going to wrap it up. I'm like, wait, I got to explain that part. Okay.
Oh, no. It's just, I didn't want it to appear as though it was just
But it was.
Well,
from Saturday till Tuesday
over the weekend,
Wednesday,
the weekend, because it wasn't nobody to reach out to.
But they shouldn't have sent us home like that.
No, they shouldn't.
It was traumatic for me.
Yeah.
Because I knew if something happened, I was going to have to depend on 911 and an ambulance coming and the kids and I witnessing all of this and potentially losing you. And he did have a couple of scares where he started it, but I was able to get him to come to and get him shoving. I remember I spilled all the pills trying to get them into your mouth. I'm just like, here, hurry up, take it before you pass out, God is good. Prayers. We had so many people praying for us. And some of you even have been praying.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we made it through. So then we never heard from the endocrinologist that they were referring us to, the one that was giving all the bad advice at the hospital, basically. Still haven't heard from her. And I ended up researching and found an endocrinologist. And we called to get him in, and they told us they didn't have anything till December. This is the end of October, it was at that time. So we're like, well, that doesn't work. And I explained his situation, was like, I mean, it's life-threatening. And they were like, sorry. So what did you do?
I did a Stephanism. And Stephanism, that means go to the next level by any means necessary. You know, so I went on Facebook to see if we could make contact with that doctor. And sure enough.
I have a question. Mm-hmm. Would you have done that if she wasn't Black? It was a Black endocrinologist. I'm just curious if that helped you feel more comfortable.
It did help me feel comfortable, but I don't know if I would have done it because I didn't know if they would be accessible.
Right.
You know, like I felt like Black folks, we are accessible. Some are accessible.
Sometimes, right.
You know, so I figured that was worth taking the chance.
Right, because we know sometimes we don't get the right care. Mm-hmm. Because sadly we're looked at like we're not equal or we're not important. I don't know, but sometimes it does happen to where our healthcare is not taken as seriously.
Right.
And they get mad at us if we are vocal. Now we've become the angry Black people.
Right.
So.
So at that point I figured, you know, let's just try. You know, it was like late at night. It was like 7 or 8, not late. It was about 7 or 8, you know, after she had showed me who the person was. And I was like, okay. And then we saw a YouTube clip of her talking, you know, and she seemed, nice. You know, nice and personable or whatever. Yeah. And so that's when I did the research and just sent her a message saying, hey, we have a really quick question, you know. And she responded, you know, what's your question?
Did she respond right away?
No, it was, you know, an hour or two later.
And you didn't tell me that you did that, did you? Yeah.
No, I didn't.
And it's funny because it did cross my mind, but I was like, okay, don't do that. But it did cross my mind, like maybe we should try to connect directly with her through social media. But but he did.
I did. Hey,
and I didn't say anything to him about it.
No, you didn't. And so she responded, and I was like, hey, well, thank you so much. Can my wife's been researching this. Can she just call you real quickly? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. You know, and she set up a time, and then I guess she became available earlier. So then I gave my number, and then
it was that same night too.
It was that same night, yeah. It was like a couple hours later that she was going to be available. Mm-hmm. But then she became available earlier, and she ended up calling, but Tanya didn't recognize the number.
Right. I was talking to my mom, so I ignored the call.
Right. And so then at that point, me. Right. And then she texted, and then she called back. And so that's how they were able to connect and have a good conversation.
Yeah, like almost 30 minutes. And she understood what the condition was. She knew how to treat it. She gave us advice because at that point he still couldn't get out of bed. And she was like, okay, this is what you need to do. You need to do 3 hydrocortisones, start it tonight, and you need to be doing 3 hydrocortisones every dose, which was 3 doses a day for us at the time. So I started it that night. The next morning, we did the next dose of 3, and he went from not being able to get out of bed at all, like without, going into potential crisis, to what?
To being able to get out of bed and walk around and be like, wow, this is my house, Oh my God, this is my office, I got a lot to do. I got a lot to do,
Yeah, Steffi had kind of trashed the office.
Tore my office up. Do you hear me? Just it looked like romper room / Toys R Us. It was just crazy. So I was like, this is the first thing I'm going to tackle is cleaning my office so I can be able to manage and, try to get something done. And I was able to just sit down and, not rush, not do too much, but I just felt good that I was able to get out of bed and
it was amazing.
Yeah, and do something. So
that quick, overnight, just from changing that dose. And I had already doubled it from what the hospital prescribed. So it needed to be tripled. And they should have knew that.
They should have.
But literally, no more wheelchair. We didn't even need the wheelchair. He was able to go upstairs which is like you got to go up, maybe like 6 stairs, turn the corner, and then go up another 6 stairs. So he was able to do that. It was crazy, amazing. God is good, miracle. Thank you, doctor. Life was good, and he was feeling good. So it really made a difference. And one of the things that drove you, I think, to even really get bold and reach out to the doctor, and you were just really like, I'm going to get better. Because I don't feel like you ever gave up. I mean, you were a fighter, and that's what got you to where you were in the hospital. I mean, you were fighting for your life, and I could see it. But I did feel like you were feeling kind of defeated or frustrated, you know, and maybe even kind of sad, you know, I don't know, prior, but.
I would say a lot of it felt like I just felt, you know, useless, you know, being such a strong individual and kind of always being in control.
Yeah.
You know, and not being in control and not knowing when I was going to be back in control,
yeah.
You know, really affected me a little bit. But I knew that it was temporary. I just didn't know how long this journey was going to be,
Yeah.
you know, and how much I would have to go through.
Yeah.
So that was the discouraging part. But I knew that this was temporary. I knew this was just a season.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But it had been a long season.
A very long
over
season.
A year of this. And the fact that you were feeling better and then it kind of crashed again was discouraging. But what did I show you in the middle of the night? Maybe that gave you a little extra motivation to try to get better quicker. Do you remember a video?
I don't remember. What kind of video was it?
I was like, because through all of this, we had some other stresses too. I mean, number one, it's a pandemic, it's COVID. Oh, and we didn't even mention they had him in a room that was a prior COVID patient's room.
How about that?
We've been secluded for months, knowing we're both immune compromised, but mainly him. And that's when you go to the hospital, you end up in a room, literally the COVID patient was just in. And then his nurse was treating a COVID patient and him at the same time. It's like,
can't get no better than that.
I'm like, I gotta get you out of here. But